Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to talk about a car company whose past is as interesting and diverse as the sexual history of a married couple that does love a bit of swinging. With their hands having been in multiple pots all over the world, they are an underrated colossus and a gentle giant. With now 160 years under their belt, I'm talking about one of Germany's most important car companies without as much clout as the more recognized marques. You already know I'm talking about Opel. So, much like a lot of the oldest car manufacturers in the game, Opel didn't start by making cars. Now you're probably thinking, okay, I've heard this before. They probably started by making bicycles, didn't they? Well, actually no, they didn't. They started by manufacturing sewing machines in 1862 under the founder of the company, Adam Opel. They were based in Russelheim, Germany. Adam Oppel, though, he was a forward-thinking man. He saw a new booming market on the horizon, and then he started making bicycles. More specifically, though, he started making high-wheeled bicycles. These were like the freaking hot rods of bicycles. Now, Adam was a reasonable man, but the sons that he spawned, they were a bunch of mad lads. They used to promote the bicycles by racing them. And it must have worked because by the time Adam died in 1895, his company dominated the market in sewing machines and high-wheel bicycles. After the death of Adam Opel, his two mad lad sons took over and they decided to get into designing cars with the help of their mom and a locksmith from Saxony-Anhalt who had been designing cars. Initially things didn't go that well, but it didn't take too long to gain recognition. That's because in 1909, Opel gained some acclaim in Germany with their Opel 4/8 PS, a car the Deutsch populace unironically dubbed the Doctor Wagon. Coined as the doctor's car because, well, it was a hit among doctors who traveled far distances to see patients. It was appreciated for how robust and reliable it was during a time when roads were as ragged as the ones that the Chinese built for African countries. Typical stuff then for a country which likes to call hospitals Krankenhaus, which literally translates to sick house. It was also much cheaper than the other luxury alternatives in the market. Now, following the success of the Doctor Wagon, the 1920s ushered in a great new period for Opel and indeed the motoring public of Germany. That's because Opel did what the likes of Ford and Toyota did for the everyman, making motoring available to not just the rich, but to the lower classes as well. By introducing mass production of vehicles, unit costs were decreased, popularizing models such as the Opel 4 PS, which the Germans ironically dubbed the Laubfrosch, which translates to tree frog. Why, you may wonder, they named it that? Well, that's because the models were predominantly green and they were small two-seaters. You gotta love that German sense of humor. I mean, just imagine what it was like to hear your friend tell you he got a new Laubfrosch. Oh, Klaus, I heard you have ein neues Auto. What is it? My friend, I got myself ein neues Laubfrosch. Wow. By the end of the 1920s, Opel was the largest exporter of vehicles in Germany. Never mind the likes of Mercedes. The world wanted Opel. It was because of this that Opel could afford to be more adventurous and they decided to bring out the jet engines. No, for real. Opel was instrumental in the dawn of the jet engine and rocket technology. That's because Adam Opel's even more mad lad grandson, Fritz von Opel, well, he was just downright crazy. Now, because the genius of Fritz was so great it created its own gravity, he probably felt that the petrol engine was a bit limp-wristed. He decided to build and attach jet engines to his vehicles. And not just vehicles. Crazy Fritz put rockets on everything from cars, rail vehicles, motorcycles, and in his madness, he even put them on planes. Fritz manned the first rocket-powered flight in 1929 So next time you're cruising many thousands of feet above sea level in a jet-powered Airbus, remember to thank Opel for that. And when a nuclear missile is fired at your country, remember to curse Opel, who inspired the likes of legendary rocket designer Wernher von Braun. If you want to hear more about Opel's rocket escapades, make sure to leave a comment below. Moving on from Fritz's crazy escapades. Just as nobody ever expected the Spanish, nobody could have expected what happened in 1929. And no, I'm not talking about the Great Depression caused by one of the greatest crashes of Wall Street. I'm talking about how American auto giant General Motors decided to buy Opel almost completely. The German giant was now American owned, and this paid off because by the mid-1930s, Opel was producing the most cars in Germany, and they continued to innovate, making the first unibody constructed car in Germany. Opel saw great success with the likes of the Opel Capitan that had front independent suspension, hydraulic shock absorbers, and a beefy 2.5 litre straight six. Skipping ahead to the post-World War II era, Opel started making refrigerators too. This company is the early embodiment of the dude with the trench coat who literally sells everything. The 1970s saw Opel become GM's greatest acquisition in Europe, ahead of its stepsister company Vauxhall, which was also owned by GM. GM then decided to pull a Pornhub move and basically merge the two step companies by rebadging Opels as Vauxhalls. Sweet Home Alabama. Opel continued to see success with models such as the Record E series, which was their first turbocharged car. Over 1 million units were made, and over 10 million sold over the 8-generation lifespan of the Record, from 1953 to 1986. It was one of the most favored family cars on the road. Opel also found great success with one of their most well-known models, and of course, the very much loved Opel Cadet, which started life actually in the 1930s. However, it was then discontinued and then brought back to life in 1962 as the smaller family car in Opel's lineup. It was front engine and rear-wheel drive, perfectly balanced as all things should be, until its fourth iteration. The Cadet D was released in 1979 with a transverse front engine and front-wheel drive. This car had a great global reach, being produced in Indonesia and even down in South Africa. In time, some more Alabama things happened, and the Cadet was renamed the Astra, or the Monza, or the Le Mans, or the Belmont, depending on where you lived in the world. In 1985, the Cadet E won the European Car of the Year award. After 1991, the Cadet forever became the Astra as we know it today, under Vauxhall or Opel. There are other popular models that also span the globe, such as the Corsa, but that's a story for another day. If you want to know how Opel shaped up after 2000, make sure to leave a comment and like. So, I know I'm gonna sound weird here, but overall, you need to think of the relationship that Opel has with its other major German car manufacturing brands as the same one that Master Splinter had with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. At one point, Opel was the Mac Daddy. It produced the most cars in Germany. It exported the most cars from Germany. It really expanded the German motoring world, both within and outside of the country. But nowadays, if you were to think of the top German car brands, you never think of Opel. You think of the likes of Mercedes, BMW, VW, Audi, and Porsche. Those are the big daddies now. Of course, as we all know, Master Splinter got old, and eventually he got overtaken by the sons that he raised. And that is the fate of Opel today. However, it must never be forgotten the impact that Opel had on the German car manufacturing market. Anyway guys, this has been Private School Tav. Make sure to subscribe for more. I'll check you out the next time.